Hey guys, it's Bang for About PC Gamer here. Hope you guys have been enjoying the holidays. I certainly have. I'm just gonna walk you through my complete build now because I have finally completed my editing and gaming PC. I just wanted to go through the components I chose and what it cost and what the reasons were for the choices I made when it comes to the components. If you were to mirror my build, if you were interested. So I'm gonna start off with the case. I went with a full tower case as I do need loads of room to work, and it's just better for cooling as well when you've got loads of hot components inside. So I went with the Corsair Graphite 780T. Has great features, looks great. One of the main features is it's got a full-size window so you can see your components. You can mount a 360mm radiator to the front and also to the top, and it has its own built-in fan controller as well. Great room for cable management, and overall build quality is just amazing. Fully rubber grommets to hide your cables, and you can also mount your solid states and show them off, which is a pretty nice feature. It's just a great case. It's one of those cases when you buy it you probably will never need to change it for any reason, as it can fit any full-size graphics card available on the market. You shouldn't have any compatibility issues with anything really. So a bit steep with the price, but it's something you're never really going to change. So I do think it makes sense to spend that extra on something that's going to last a very long time. Now going with the processor I used was from Intel. As we know right now, AMD doesn't really have anything that touches the Intel 2011 socket, but Zen is on the way. I think we all know that, and things may rapidly change, but be interesting to see, and I will definitely make a video on that when that comes out. I went with the Intel i7 5930K myself. Got a very good Black Friday deal. Unfortunately this has gone back to full price now. 6 cores, 12 threads, 15 megabytes of level 3 cache, and 40 PCI Express lanes, which is great for when you actually want to use all of those expansion slots. You don't need to worry about the bandwidth you've got available to you. So that goes in the basket, and we can move on to the motherboard. Now the motherboard I chose after doing reviews was the MSI X99A Gaming 7. And this has really good features, and it has a really nice color scheme as well. As subtle red stripes on the heat sinks. It's not too loud, has very good onboard sound, and just overall performs really well to some of the more expensive alternatives out there. So I went with this. So I can move on to memory now. Now, for what I do generally, 16 gigabytes is more than enough for my editing and for my gaming. But I wanted to build a system that will last and what can handle anything that's around the corner. So I went with a 32 gigabyte kit of Corsair Vengeance memory. It's about £150. But I probably won't need to upgrade my memory for a very long time, and because they're 8 gigabyte sticks, I still have the option to increase my memory as well. So I went with these. For cooling, I went with an all-in-one water cooling solution, and I went with the Corsair Hydra H110i GT. This has two 140mm fans, and has a 280mm radiator to go with it, so loads of surface area there, and it does a really good job at cooling. I was also able to get this on the Black Friday sale, but prices have returned to full price, so I'm going to go with that. So for the power supply, because I was always intending to run two multiple GPUs, I'm going to need something above 800 watts to deal with the system. You could get away with an 850 watt for my system, but I went with a 1000 watt because as an overclocker you always like to have a bit more headroom, and I went with the Corsair HX1000i in this instance. It has a platinum rated efficiency, so it's going to provide clean power pretty much all the time, and it also has it's fully digital as well, so it can give you a readout of your full system usage, which is a nice feature as well. So I went with this, and we can now move on to something a little more interesting, and that's the graphics cards. Now the Nvidia prices have been fluctuating a lot. I initially bought a GTX 980 Ti reference design at launch for £575, which was more than they should have been selling it for, but due to demand, they tried to skim a bit off the top. I bought my second for 500. Now you're probably wondering, why didn't you go with an aftermarket design? Like I said, at launch, the reference design was the only thing you was allowed to choose from. The aftermarket cards came a little bit after that, and so when it came time for me to buy my second card, I didn't want to mix the designs, so I went with a second reference card. So that's pretty much the main bulk of the system built. Now I'm just going to go with storage. Now storage options is something that shouldn't be overlooked because you can actually get performance out of it. I went with a 500 gigabyte Samsung Evo SSD. This is my main OS drive and also houses the bulk of my games that I play regularly, which I want to get the performance increase, or the in loading times, mainly from having a fast drive. I also went with a very fast M.2 PCI Express drive as well. I went with the Samsung SM951. This has a 2000 megabytes per second read speed and a 650 megabytes per second write speed. This drive I bought specifically to do my content creation and my video editing, as when you're editing 4K videos, it can be pretty hard to build your projects and going back and forth. With a 2000 megabytes per second read speed, it's just so smooth, and it really helps with making my videos, so it was an easy choice to make. So I went with this, and it's worth every penny so far. And last but not least, I went with a big storage drive. I went with a 3 terabyte drive, which will pretty much deal with all the content I have available to myself. And I also have a 1 terabyte backup portable as well if I ever needed to use extra space. So I've got around about, I would say, 4.5 terabytes of storage available to me, which is more than enough for what I currently do. So I went with the Toshiba 3 terabyte, 7200 RPM drive. I went with it over the Seagate as it has a bit of a lower RMA rate than the Seagate drives at the moment, which pretty much have the highest. So that was the only reason for going with that. So I'm going to look at the complete build now. So it comes to, if you were to buy these parts now today, you would spend around £2,500 depending on where you shopped. So this is pretty much the build. As you can see, I favour Corsair when it comes to most of my components, but it's hard to argue when they really do make some of the highest quality PC components around. So I went with the Corsair Graphite 780T for the case, the Intel i7-5930K for the processor, the MSI X99A Gaming 7 motherboard, 32 gigabytes of Corsair Vengeance, 8 gigabyte sticks, so I still have room to upgrade, and the Corsair Hydra H110i GT, which does a great job of cooling my i7-5930K, which is currently overclocked to 4.5 gigahertz. The Corsair HX1000i does a great job of keeping the system powered even when it's fully overclocked. I think the maximum power draw I've seen so far is 866 watts, around about that region. So still got a bit of headroom there, which is always nice to see. Two GeForce GTX 980 Ti's. When overclocked, there is pretty much no rival for it unless you've got two Titan X's, of course. And the Samsung 500GB for my main boot drive and my my main games that I play at the moment, and which gives a great loading times and great boot times as well. And the operating system is really fast and snappy. The Samsung SM951 is my dedicated media drive, which I use for creating my videos and saving my gameplay too while playing games, so there's no lag pretty much. So that's definitely a good investment on my part, and my 3TB Toshiba just for everything else. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you want to see what this system can do, I'll put a link in the description to a short video which I got a few benchmarks and some gameplay, so you can have a quick look at what to expect from this kind of build. So around about the 2,500 mark, something I've built over time. I haven't